Hey, top of the morning, folks. Chris Rockwell here, civilbullets.com. What a day. It's Friday, July 26th. It's morning, and yesterday was a big day in court uh, in the Technocrat world. A Democrat, Tulsi Gabbard, a presidential candidate who is apparently someone that was on the march, had a great TV debate. She's from Hawaii, and apparently Google did their very best to block the searches to her that spiked right after the debate, and they don't know how it happened. But the advertising that they paid for, that her campaign paid for to Google, all her ads went down right after the debate when her popularity was at the peak of her campaign. So this was on the left, man. So, there have been plenty of conservative lawsuits by independent journalists that are being blocked daily. Their videos are being demonetized daily for fractional things that are not even relevant to being blocked based on what a typical liberal site will be able to do and say and show. That's been apparent for a few years now, and I've been writing and doing videos about that, especially the build up to 2016. So the arrogance of that continued on, and I kept talking about it, going like, does anybody else recognize or see that feels like they're using algorithms to block conservative voice. And it's kind of been this conspiracy thing. When I talk to other people, they'll say, "Oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist, Chris. You're paranoid. Looking too deep into it, Chris." So, yeah. Okay. So I built multiple technology companies in Silicon Valley and Seattle, connected to LA and New York, digital media, and a lot of innovative stuff that created the kind of the template for what you see in today's social media world, algorithms and content distribution and ad distribution and inventory apps and all this stuff. We were early to the game with back in the 90s, and into the 2000s, early 2000s. I worked with some of the truly the best attorneys in this space in the United States and the world. And today, actually, they run some of the biggest companies in the world, especially in digital content and content space. Huge, huge. And still my mentors and friends, and working with me, some are, and very closely. And I'm grateful for that, because I worked with a lot of bad people in those places in Silicon Valley, but in all the other places I talk about, I use Silicon Valley as just a kind of a collection of an ideology now. And the reality is, a lot of the people at the high levels, at the executive levels, from attorneys to business development to finance to marketing, a lot of shady people, man. A lot of greedy, like pretty shady people, pretty bad people. Hollow, shallow, like reptilian. They're not. You can see right through their soul. You can't. There's nothing behind the eyes. They talk the talk. They're really good at talking liberal talk, and they care about everybody. But at the end of the day, I keep talking about that because I'm being honest about this. So these people, like the Zuckerbergs of Facebook and the Jeff Bezos of Amazon and the Sergey Brins of Google, who talk about not being evil and all of this crap, these people and their companies have done massive damage to the United States by selling and working with bad people at the deep state level, CIA, and with countries like China to weaponize them against the masses with technology. And that's no longer conspiracy. That's no longer crazy talk. That's all proven now. And the cool thing is, lawsuits are now starting to take place. It's been happening on the conservative side, but again, no one cares until a liberal cries, right? So, because everything's controlled by the left. So, as far as mainstream media, so all most people are going to see is, they're not going to hear about the conservative lawsuits that are legitimate against Facebook and Google and these guys. But the lawsuit yesterday, filed by Democrat presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard, that's a precedent that is going to be a shot heard around the world. It's going to be another punch to the big boys, these technocrat dorks, who have been, bloodlusting on power and money for the last 20 years, and their time is up. And the lawsuits are going to do damage to them, but you guys have to remember, these guys have so much money that lawsuits are not an issue. They'll destroy you in court most of the time. But, and I'm not a big lawsuit guy, period. I don't think winning by a lawsuit on a competitive stage, I mean, to protect people screwing you over, which these guys do all the time, I mean, they should be sued. But my point is, my personal solution to it was to walk away from the bad people, walk away from an entrenched system that basically pays off the bad cronies and dirtbags, or steals great ideas from kids. You know what I mean? I've been there, done that. I got ripped off when I was a kid on great ideas too. But the thing is, I also got the great wisdom and knowledge of what that felt like and what that experience was like, instead of just talking about it. I actually know what it's like to have a technocrat rip you off for a great idea and technology and a foundation of a business. So I decided to take all of that and those learnings and my wisdom and my heart and what was left of it after I got stomped on by a bunch of bad people for a lot of years, and start all over and build it in a way that was more akin to the way that I had experienced great teams going up against the best in the space, college football, and fighting for a great leader, Jim Sweeney, and going out there usually outmanned. We were usually the underdog, but something about his heart, man, and the preparation, and we worked really hard. There was something about Coach Sweeney as a leader that made us perform above and beyond and fight the good fight. And I have taken that to my business life 100%, and I always did. I was just very naive to how greedy people were and how willing they were to just lie, like on a daily basis. Not overtly, but like just passive aggressively leeching out half-truths all the time. And I'm telling you, that is more dangerous and more destructive than just overt lying, because then at least you know where people stand. And that's something that I have kind of battled and struggled with, living and growing up in California and kind of the world I grew up in. Trying to figure out, what the hell are you really saying? And when I got to the Valley, I knew the game. I knew how to play the game, because that's what they all do. They all kind of tell the truth, but they all kind of make sure that they're protected and they're not offending anybody, but they're getting as much as they can out of every interaction. It's very, very, very selfish, and that's why these lawsuits are happening, because you cannot build something on lies and deception and expect the long term to pan out well. Lawsuits aren't going to sink Facebook and Google, you guys. That's not what, and Amazon, that's not what sinks these guys. It's consumers. That's what capitalism is all about. That's something that that's what it's all about. Build something better. Be willing to sacrifice a little bit of money maybe up front to partner up with better people in a better system, and then collectively take on the bad guys, instead of just, I've got bills to pay, and I've got things important. I've got kids. Excuses, dude. Those are all excuses to justify poor behavior and taking money from bad people doing bad things. I've been there, so I got the hell out of it, you know? And we weren't even doing anything that bad. But for example, are you somehow connected to the industrial military complex? Are you? Because it's a big deal. It's a multi-trillion dollar industry that to kill people. So I mean, if you're making your 150, 200 grand and you're attached to that like a lot of people I knew in the valley, because Silicon Valley is Washington D.C., folks. So don't think it's some California dream. It wasn't financed that way, and it's not ran that way, and it's not controlled that way. So just be honest about what you're connected to and what you're really building and what you're really attached to, because you know the lawsuits are one thing, and I think it's a good thing in this case, but that's not the answer, man. The answer is to choose as a consumer more carefully and connect it to not just your dollar and trying to establish a dollar value to that service, you know, or that product. Really think it through. Like, where was this built and how was it built? Who created it? Who's behind the advertising and pushing this product, you know? And find out how it's built and where the materials come from, maybe. You know? Everything, in my opinion, has a soul in the sense of our choices and how that affects our soul, our mindset, or whatever you want to call it, you know, our state of mind, our energy, our vibe. And I know in my heart when I'm being honest. And I've always kind of been, I don't know, real sensitive, sensing dishonesty and you know, some of the most dishonest things I ever did was, I mean, I was an alcoholic, man. I drank a lot to escape this world that just seemed, you know, especially the world I lived in, it seemed just like insane all the time, and it just never made sense. And it was easy to justify checking out, you know, because it was insane. So I was just trying to adapt to insanity. I did pretty good until I crashed. So most people will never experience that, you know. They'll experience using Facebook and they'll use Google, and some people experience even what Silicon Valley's like to some degree. But not many people build multiple number one startups at the core ground level at the beginning of a revolution. It's bloody, it's exhausting, and it's like the gold rush. You witness and experience a lot of greed and bad people and bad intentions and backdoor deals, but that's humans, man. It's not just the valley. It's in my small town doing a good old boy deal, you know, trying to it's everywhere. And if you have success and you're trying to do the right thing, people will come after you and they'll try to hate on that. But you know what? Stand strong. Have some courage to stay the course and build something good. It's way more fulfilling and gratifying, you know, versus building the next obsolete app that no one really even can appreciate, you know. I think I'd rather build an app and technology and products that have good intentions and good people around it for good people, you know. And I think that's kind of the right way to do things. I don't know. It's not complicated, but it's really hard to do on a daily basis. That's why most people don't do it. That's why consumers don't think twice about what they do unless they look at their dollars. I mean, let's look a little longer term, you guys, you know? So I am so happy with what we're building as a team and our technology company and the people that are gracing this company with their heart, man, and their energy and their passion. The innovation is far beyond all this stuff that you see in the valley. Usually, you know, you see it by the kids that are coming out and they're producing cool stuff, but those poor kids get ripped off usually. Um, you know, but most of it is just kind of like this slow motion walk to nowhere. And I'm not all about that, man. I want to wake up and I want to build something that's exciting, and I want to do it for a reason. I don't want to just do it to make money. That's I mean, believe me, I've struggled at the most basic level financially to get here. So I'm willing to do what I'm talking about. I did it. You know, I really, really struggled. Julie, thank you for believing in me and believing in this walk of creating Manic Fusion Labs, a creative lab where we can produce, you know, original, innovative content, brands, and technology. And it took a lot to establish it and get started. But I'll tell you what, there's not been one day where I regretted walking away from the establishment, the easy money, and the weird energy of it all. I wanted to get back to my sandbox, building sandcastles with cool people and good people, and that's what we're doing. So, pretty cool. You guys have a great Friday, great weekend. Go do something fun. Balance is the key. You know, work, play, and spend some time with the family. So you guys have a great day. And Julie and I we're gonna head up to Grass Valley, historic Grass Valley, where my idol Mark Twain used to hang out with all the crazy miners and watch them gun each other down outside the saloons and write about it. So we're gonna go hang out there and have an ice cream. All right, you guys, take care.